Every single sentence you speak or write or even think, it's all built around one thing, a verb. Verbs are the absolute heart of the English language. So, if you really want to master clear, confident communication, this is where you start.
Right? They're not just boring grammar words. They're the power source. They are what give a sentence its energy, its action, its momentum. Without a verb, your words just kind of sit on the page. They don't do anything.
I want you to think about it like this. If a sentence is a car, the nouns might be the body. Maybe the adjectives are the cool paint job. But the verb, that's the engine. It's literally what makes the whole thing go. No engine, no power, no story.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the two main jobs that pretty much every verb has. Then, we're going to meet their helpers, the sidekicks. After that, we'll tackle the rules and the rule breakers. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by building your own verb toolkit.
Okay, so what do verbs actually do? Well, when you boil it all down, they really have one of two fundamental jobs. They're either showing an action or they're describing a state of being. Getting this difference is like the most important first step.
And that's pretty much it. Every single time you use a verb, you're making a choice between these two things. So you just have to ask yourself, is my subject doing something, either physically or mentally, or am I just describing what my subject is, its condition? Action verbs are the ones we all think of first. They're the dynamic words, the ones that show something is happening. So here, studies is a mental action, but it could just as easily be something physical, like run or jump, or even a decision, like decide.
And then you've got the other side of the coin, state verbs. These guys don't show any action at all. They just connect the subject to a description. See how is just links she to her state of happiness? She isn't doing happy. She simply is happy. It's a state of being, not an action.
Now things get really interesting because some verbs don't like to work alone. They team up with the main verb to add these extra layers of meaning, stuff like ability or advice or some kind of obligation. These are the super useful helper verbs, or as they're officially known, modals.
And don't underestimate them. These little words pack a huge punch. I mean, think about it. You study is just a fact. But if I say you should study, that's advice. You must study, well, that's a command. That one tiny helper verb totally changes the entire meaning of the sentence. Okay, here is the absolute number one most important rule for these helper verbs. They never, ever change. It doesn't matter if the subject is I, you, she, or they. It's always she can speak, never she cans speak. That's a super common mistake, but hey, it's also a really easy one to fix.
And making them negative? Even easier. You just add not right after the modal verb. So can becomes cannot, should becomes should not. You never need to bring in other helpers like don't or doesn't. The phrase don't can, nope, it's just not a thing in English.
All right, let's wade into what can be one of the trickiest parts of English verbs, changing them to talk about the past. But don't worry, the best way to handle this is to see that they really fall into just two groups. The ones that follow the rules and, well, the rule breakers. So the good news is most verbs are regular. They're predictable. To make them past tense, they follow one simple pattern. But then you have the irregulars. These guys kind of march to the beat of their own drum. They don't follow the pattern, and honestly, you just have to get to know.
For regular verbs, life is simple. You just add ed to the end. That's it. Work becomes worked. Play becomes played. Ask becomes asked. Once you know that one simple rule, you've suddenly got thousands of verbs you can use correctly in the past.
But then you run into a rebel like eat. It doesn't become eaten. No way. It totally transforms. The simple past is ate, like in I ate pizza yesterday. And the past participle, which we use with helpers like have, is eaten, as in I have eaten already. There's no magic formula here. It's just a pattern you learn over time.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. We've seen what verbs do, we've met their helpers, and we've navigated their rules and rule breakers. So now, let's package all of this up into a simple, powerful toolkit you can start using right away.
So here it is, your verb toolkit in 4 key takeaways. Number 1, always remember, verbs are the engine. They make things go.
2. Ask yourself if the verb is showing an action or describing a state. 3. Use those helper verbs to add all that extra meaning and power. And 4. Always keep an eye out for those tricky, irregular rule breakers.
So, we've come full circle. Back to the idea that verbs are the engine of our ideas. You have the tools now. You've got the toolkit to understand them and use them way more effectively. So I guess the only question left is, what amazing ideas are you going to power up? Thanks for diving in with me.